All right, thanks for tuning in to Motorsports Talk as we talk NASCAR. Eric Smith, racereviewonline.net for the first time in 2022. And we promise you at the end of 2021, we were going to have a lot of cool stuff for this season, and we will. This is going to be the beginning of a really great year for us here, not only covering NASCAR, but IndyCar as well. Eric Smith joining me in studio, but I believe the next time we talk, you're going to be on location, hopefully, in Daytona.
Yep, hopefully. And even if I was going to try to be on location in LA this week, I don't think I'd get
Yeah.
out because we're about to have Snowmageddon here in
Yeah.
Indy. So yeah, it's definitely watching the Clash from home, covering that. And then, yep, Daytona's riding around the corner.
All right. Now, we want to let everybody know a few things here. First of all, I'm going to post this up here because this is our Patreon page, patreon.com, PrimeSN. So all of our programming after this is the only show we are going to do that is going to be free. So everything from now on is going to be on this Patreon page at patreon.com/PrimeSN. And that's going to start with our season preview with hopefully we're going to hook up with CJ Radoon from RotoWire. He's going to be with us a few times during the season. That's obviously going to be one of the shows that we're going to look to hook up with him. Then we're going to have our 500 preview on the 18th, and also the recap of the race on Sunday night of the 500. As long as Eric is there on location, we are going to do a live hookup with Eric right after the race or a little bit after the race. So that should be a lot of fun, weather permitting, of course. So I don't want to jinx it. But everything is hooked up already on the Patreon page. So you can go there, you can see what we're going to be offering, and we're going to do our best to let you know exactly what that is. A little bit more in detail, but a lot of the really good stuff are going to be when Eric goes on location, like at Daytona. He's going to take a lot of videos behind the scenes, things of that nature. That's going to be available on the higher end packages. So, but Eric, we've got the Clash coming up on Sunday. Somebody's calling you. See, I know when someone's calling you on Skype.
It's all the time. It's every time I hop on, somebody calls me.
Yeah.
But we're I ignored it, so we're good.
By the way, lower your camera a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Let me. Rookie mistake here. Here we go.
There you go. See, back to first show.
Yep.
So Clash. It's not in Daytona. I guess is that good?
I think for this year, and I've got that coming out my the 5 burning questions tomorrow. Is this the future of the Clash? Is one of the questions. Because it is awkward that we're starting a race in a football stadium to start the season off with, and it's always been at Daytona. I mean, right? The Clash has always been at Daytona. But what people don't realize, the Clash was started, a quick history, 1979. It was just an all-star race for the pole winners from the previous year, and it lasted that way for several years. But until 1981 or 1982 was the first year the Daytona 500 was actually the season opening race. So they went to Riverside in January, which is in LA, from 79, 80, and 81, and then went to Daytona to do the Clash and then the Daytona 500. But where this is different is at least you're in Daytona for the Clash, for the Daytona 500. That's the big prize. That's the Super Bowl. That's what everybody wants to win. This is a little awkward this year is the fact we're doing LA, but Daytona's still coming up. So it's kind of hard to focus. Like, I mean, this is an all-star race. Who cares? Daytona's the big prize. So
what's the reasoning? Where did the idea come from?
Well, it's because, and I got that in there too, coming up tomorrow, is the reason you move from Daytona is that it became just kind of a lack of a better word, a shit show. It just seemed like it went away from the roots. It was supposed to just be a 20-lap shootout with just pole winners, a small field. It grew to around 20-plus cars, and it was 75 laps. And for the first 60 laps, it was just a high-speed train, because why would you want to risk wrecking when there's no points on the line, and the winner gets money and everybody else gets nothing? So why risk wrecking on lap 7 of a Clash? So it was boring. And then you get to the end, and it was a crash fest. And the last year on the oval, if I'm not mistaken, and I got it in there, so I don't want to say it wrong, but I do know it was like 6 cars running at the end of the Clash, and 5 of them were completely demolished. And the guy that won, his car was just band-aided together. I mean, it was becoming an embarrassment. The fans were dwindling, the ratings were dwindling, so they thought, let's try something else. Last year they put it on the Daytona road course, which just seemed kind of awkward. Speed weeks, everything's on the oval, but let's start off on the road course. It just the ratings weren't great. It was a weeknight. I think it was just finally they decided we need something new. My vote was just do away with it altogether. But they're trying this. NBC Sports has reported that it's a 3-year deal, but options the next 2 years. You have to let them know by May if you want to, or let them then be in LA, the Coliseum and USC, for the football team plays there, know in May if you want to continue on for the next year.
So this is going to be a road course?
It's an oval.
Oval. So they're just putting an oval together in the Coliseum.
Yep. So what they did,
a remote
they took
oval.
Yeah, it's literally just think of the football stadium, and they got tons of dirt that they put over the football stadium or over the grass. The grass is still there. Nothing changes. And then they put asphalt on top of that dirt and made a 1/4-mile oval inside of a football stadium. So it looks cool.
Okay.
But you think of NASCARs on a 1/4 mile. It just Martin Truex Jr. was asked this yesterday: is how short is too short for a track? I mean, a 1/4 mile is tiny. I mean,
sure.
1/4 mile looks tiny with USAC midgets on it, and those are just little cars, let alone a full size stock car. So I saw a report that they're probably only going to be doing 60 to 70 miles an hour on the straightaways and in the turns between 20 and 30. So these cars aren't even going to be speeding in the school zone in the corners. So, I mean, how do you pass? People are going to knock each other out of the way.
This is going to be crazy.
The drivers are expecting this to be, it's purely entertainment is what this is for. So
this is going to be, they're going to be they're going to be wrecking each other again, aren't they?
It's really, that's what's the irony of this is. So you move from a track because you wreck too much to go to a track you're going to wreck too much. So I don't know. I think I saw a report like 70% of the ticket sales were for people that have never been to a NASCAR race before. So
why not?
You're trying to get a new fan base, but is it weird to show these people a race that isn't a typical NASCAR race? Because
that's true.
It's a one-off. So they're taking a risk. Like NASCAR said, this is a big risk. It costs over $1 million to do this. So, you got these cars, and here's the kicker. And this is my last of my 5 burning questions: is how much ramifications are going to come out of this race for the rest of the year? Because look, you're going to probably, odds are to pass, you're going to have to knock somebody out of the way, right?
Oh, you mean
to
begin rivalries?
Yeah.
Well, that'd be good.
Is it worth to get a payback for an exhibition race?
No. Yeah.
And then there's the other thing is you got a new car. There's a lot of pieces there's not a lot of spare parts around. So do you really want to risk tearing your car up?
You got no alternative.
Race? Yeah, it's
a track like this.
Are you going so slow? Are you even going to do any damage?
That's true. I don't know how much you're going to damage a car at 60 miles an hour, but
that's why I say that there's a lot riding on this. This is the year. If you're going to try it, why not this year? You got a new car. The numbers are pushed forward. Do pit stop. There's not going to be pit stops here, but the single lug. If you're going to make a change to the Clash, this is the year to try it. Because if it fails miserably, you tried it once, you don't have to go back. If it is a good race, then you got all these football stadiums and all these big cities and downtown areas you can go to. So, yeah, I applaud the change, but we'll see if it works. That is yet to be known.
And I'm looking at the article that is going to be coming out. When are you going to post this on your website?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Will be
and by the way, this is important to note. We were just talking about our Patreon page. One of the privileges, I guess, you're going to get, depending on what kind of tier that you pay for, is going to be Eric usually will put out his race previews like on Thursdays. So let's say if Eric was going to put out the Daytona 500 preview on the 17th on his website, if you pay for the package, one of the packages that we have, I think, in 1 or 2 of them, that if you pay for that package, you'll be able to see Eric's preview of say the Daytona 500 on that Monday. So you'll get an extra 2 to 3 days earlier than it will be posted. And sometimes, I prefer that because I like to get all of my previews of NASCAR and as well as in golf early in the week on Monday or Tuesday, because I get all the information. As long as I have all the information, that's all I need. I don't need anything else. I don't have to see interviews or what happened last year. I have to look at past events. All it is information. And yes, maybe you have a little bit of time to kind of think about it sometimes that helps when you're making picks. You don't want to be making picks too early in the week, but at least you don't. And again, I'm just taking for the people out there that are going to be using the information. You don't have to make your picks early in the week, but you can put all of your information together so you have maybe like, hey, here are the 5 drivers I like, and now in a couple of days I'll start to process the information, and then I can make my picks on a Wednesday or a Thursday instead of getting the information on Thursday and feeling like you have to rush it because the race is in a couple of days.
Exactly. And two, the odds change. You get the early odds.
Yes.
You'll get this
And you might
early.
want
You
to
can
take
get them.
advantage of that.
Yeah, because and let's be honest, like we talked about, this year's gonna be a little different because it's a new car. We don't know how much it's gonna change things, but I got everything loaded in based off past history, past what this driver does at this track, and like tracks for it. Because you'll see in the reports, you're gonna see the track comparisons. You're gonna see what that track is comparable to, because a lot of them are comparable to something. Again, the Clash is unique. We've never been there, so take this week's with a grain of salt. But like Daytona is comparable to Talladega. If you're good at one, you're probably good at the other. And who's good there? I'm going to decipher who to bet on, who not to bet on. Maybe some sleepers. You can get all that early because a lot of times after qualifying, the odds will change.
That's right.
So why not get in early? Because let's be honest, it's NASCAR, it's racing. Usually the good guys, no matter where they qualify, end up finding their way to the front. So why not jump in on the odds early? Because even if they qualify 29th, or let's just say you got a guy you like and he qualifies on the pole, well, now his odds just cut in half.
Yes.
You could get them early.
Yeah.
If you want them, just go ahead and get them early. So yeah, you can either use it for information for later, or why not throw some bets early? We talked about on IndyCar shows last year about there's a lot of opportunity to get some sleepers when they're 30 and 50 to 1
Because
before qualifying.
is so important in IndyCar
They're
racing.
going to end up at 10 to 1.
Yeah.
Get in early. Why not? You can wait for the favorites, but maybe you want to get sleepers early. So all that will be available for you on Mondays when they don't get live on my site till Wednesday or Thursday.
And we are also going to have special reports on on a track trend of every specific track in the NASCAR series and the IndyCar series to get you up to speed, because sometimes you just kind of need a refresher on the track and what it's about and what kind of history. So we're going to have those reports available as well. They're going to be condensed into just a few minutes. We're going to try our best to condense them as much as possible, to make them as short as possible, but we're going to get as much information as possible in those reports as well. So it becomes a really cool additional kind of perk with and we might give those. I haven't figured out yet whether or not we're gonna post those for free initially, so people get a taste of what it is that they would be missing eventually once we put them behind the paywall, since we've never done them before, and that's something. Yep. But that's something that we're going to work on as well. But anyway, that's going to be also very useful information.
Yeah, yep, it'll all be there. Like it'll be ones like Toyota, because it's gonna be in trends. Like this race, usually the last average of 50 lap run from green to checkered. So you're like, oh, maybe I don't go for a fluke caution because this track, it hasn't happened. Or there's a lot more overtime finishes. Or maybe this track, recent trends have proven you might want to take 2 tires in the end. Or Toyota's really good at this track and Ford hasn't won there in 13 years. Like all of that's going to be in there. We'll be able to decipher through. So you know all that and ahead of time. We'll have those released early in the week too. So you can use for, again, more information you can get to the motorsports, the better.
And also, it's right now you get the opportunity on some of these sports books to have live racing odds.
Yep.
So you could actually place bets on the race with like 50 laps to go. And to have some of this information at your fingertips, you can go, well, wait a second. If I look back at my notes, I can see that the last 5 or 6 winners all had, speeds or finished in the top 5, in the first 2 sessions. And here I've got only one driver that's done that today. That's the driver I'm going to go with.
And it's proven that worked last year. It worked a lot last year. Hey, in order to the winner of this race, since the stage area began in 17, he scored stage points in both stages. Well, there's only 2 drivers left to do that, so let me throw money in stage 2 his way. And sure enough, they ended up winning. It happened a lot. Yep. So definitely a good feature to use.
All right. So right now, what do you have on the website? Because obviously there hasn't been a lot going on until just the last week or two. So what's out there right now?
So you got preview for the Clash is up right now. All the silly season stuff, anything it's all there. I constantly update. like for NASCAR and IndyCar, like what's happened over the off season, who's changed teams, who's where sponsorships. It's all there.
Is there anything right now? Is there any major news that has taken place over the last month that if you're a fan but you really haven't been paying attention, that you should know?
The big thing actually happened yesterday. The boxer Floyd Mayweather got a NASCAR team, started his own. So they're going to run as an open car in the Daytona 500. So it's just another new team joining the sport. So that just happened yesterday because there's kind of wondering, are we going to even hit 40 cars for 40 spots for the Daytona 500? Because the 36 chartered cars are going to be there, but where the 4 open cars coming from? Well, now we got it. So another new team, but it's a name like you got Michael Jordan, the best basketball player ever. He's in the sport. Pitbull, or a musician. He's well known. He's in the sport. Now, arguably one of the best boxers ever. Floyd Mayweather's 50-1 or 50-0. He's never lost a boxing match. He's got number 50. That's why the car is number 50, because he's 50-0.
Who's the driver?
He's now in the sport. Kaz Gralla. He's got Kaz Gralla as a driver. That was part of the Starcom connection. They got a lot of their assets. Some team members came over to help. So
what is that? Is that like he's going to use this year almost like he's going to race every once in a while, and hopefully next year he'll go full time?
Yeah, they're going to run as an open car. So you're not guaranteed spots in as an open car, but most races we weren't having over 40 cars in it anyway. So, but it's just another big name that's jumping into the sport. Where a few years ago, and I wrote about that yesterday, is a few years ago we wondered what's next. All these owners are older; they're in their 70s,
sure,
some in their 80s. Like, who's taking over NASCAR? Well, now all this succession: Jeff Gordon with Hendrick, and you got Tim Cindric with Penske, and Gibbs has his sons that are there. Stuart Haas, they're young enough to keep going. But what else? Well, now you're seeing this influx of these
that's good
A-list celebrities coming in, changing the sport. So
and hopefully they'll have influence
exactly
on the sport that is duly over needed. It's just we need change, and hopefully these really enormous, successful professionals will be able to influence the decision makers in NASCAR to go, okay, maybe they're right. Maybe we'll go ahead and do that.
For sure. And it's not just getting them here. It's anybody could come. It's keeping them. And I think it shows like last year with Pitbull's team, teaming up Justin Marks and Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan. They were there last year, but let's be honest. They came back this year and doubled. They each added a car. It's not they're staying.
Yeah.
They added a car. So it's, can you keep Floyd Mayweather not only around next year, but maybe he wants to add a car. It helps the car counts. It keeps fresh eyes. It definitely helps. You can't go wrong. And it's not like you're just getting some no-name guy jumping in the sport that's maybe some rich businessman. It's
nobody cares.
These are successful A-list people jumping in. So you can never go wrong. So it shows you're at least doing something right.
Okay, so again, we will be back on the week of the 14th. That show and all the other shows are going to be behind the paywall. Like I mentioned, maybe we'll have some of those early season track trends available for free. So you could take a look at that, and we'll use that as a way to promote all of our shows behind the paywall as well. And then we are going to see you live from the Daytona 500 on the 18th. Right, the day after the duels, which is a perfect opportunity for us to kind of preview the 500.
Yeah, which is why we're doing it unique for the 500, is because there's the duels on Thursday, when most weeks you're not going to have a qualifying race in the middle of the week. You'll have qualifying on the weekend. So a lot of change. We'll discuss that in the season preview with what to expect the coming year. And this week is the Clash. It's going to be unique, weird. It's weird formats. It's all on the site. You want to see what the formats are, what they're doing. What you got cautions for concerts in the middle of the race, a halftime show. I mean, completely different than you've ever seen it for a NASCAR race, but it's all there on the site to see. Again, my Twitter handle's out there. You got any questions in the meantime, do not hesitate to reach out. Patrons are also going to get my email address.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be able to ask you a bunch of questions anytime you want.
Yeah. So please use it. Anything we could grow this fan base. So absolutely.
Looking forward to it. Eric, appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you again real soon. Can't wait.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it.